Enterprise, Alabama, Rising from the Ashes by Grayson Morgan. Life was hard in the rural South in the early 1900s. The economy was dependent on farming and agriculture. After the Civil War, the capital poor South was forced to turn to farm tenancy. Southern bankers loaned borrowed northern capital to country merchants and landholders. Merchants and planters, in turn, advanced funds and supplies to tenants and secured their advances by requiring tenants to plant cotton. This rigid credit system ensured the overproduction of cotton, causing the New South to be increasingly dependent upon this crop. So when the boll weevil began to destroy cotton fields, the Southern economy was quickly destroyed with it. Enterprise was a small town in Coffee County, Alabama. Men and women, both black and white, worked in fields harvesting and planting the state's staple crop, king cotton. Tragedy struck when the cotton-eating insect known as the boll weevil was found on Alabama soil. The insect eventually migrated to Enterprise, devastating their rows upon rows of cotton plants, which in turn devastated their economy. The people of the town, along with scientists such as George Washington Carver, found solutions to this problem, which included new pesticides and the diversification of crops. The new crops greatly helped the economy. In appreciation of their triumphant rise from tragedy, they honored the boll weevil insect that brought them disaster and prosperity with a statue in the center of their town. The boll weevil beetle, native to central Mexico, was first introduced to the United States from Mexico in the 1890s. The only plant it attacks is cotton, and its name comes from the cotton bolls it destroys. Bolls are the protective cases around the fibrous balls of cotton, called tufts. As the cotton plant forms buds, the boll weevil devours the buds, preventing any usable cotton tuft from developing. The female beetle can deposit between 100 and 300 eggs in the bud, also known as the fruit of the cotton plant. While in the larva stage, the weevil stays entirely in the cotton, killing the seeds and even the surrounding cotton fibers. It takes up to an average of 2 to 3 weeks before the larvae turn into adults, which generally grow to be only 1/4 of an inch. The female can have up to 10 generations each year. During Alabama's early history, its economy was built around farming and agriculture. Most people in the state made their living in the cotton fields or working in some part of the cotton textile industry. But Alabama suffered a number of setbacks during the early 20th century, such as the arrival of the boll weevil. The boll weevil was first discovered in Mobile County on September 3, 1910. They quickly spread over the entire state, compounding the economic struggles of Alabama farmers. Entire cotton harvests throughout the state were destroyed. In 1912, Alabama planted 3,730,000 acres of cotton. By 1917, the state cotton acreage had fallen to 1,977,000 acres. Despite calls for agricultural diversification from both small farmers and New South advocates, the state became increasingly dependent on cotton production. In the early years of the boll weevil infestation, farmers tried numerous methods, including homemade insecticides, boll weevil traps, and even controlled burning to eradicate or minimize the damage brought on by the pest. Farmers also tried cultural practices, such as planting cotton earlier and encouraging earlier maturity of the crop. Farmers found that the best way to escape the devastation brought on by the boll weevil was to switch to other crops. In Coffee County, Alabama, cities such as Enterprise had up to 60% of their cotton production destroyed by the boll weevil. The farmers there faced bankruptcy, and the area economy was at stake. It was a desperate situation. The bankers and businessmen held a conference. "We must teach these farmers to diversify their crops," they said. "We must finance them so that they can diversify. It is our only salvation." They were forced to heed the advice of County Extension Agent John Pittman, along with the research of agricultural scientists like Tuskegee Institute's George Washington Carver, and diversify their planting. These new crops would include peanuts, corn, sweet potatoes, and sugar cane. Carver wrote in 1917, We think we are safe in the assertion that there is no crop grown in the South which possesses so many good qualities and at the same time is so easily grown as the cowpea or peanut. In 1917, farmers of Coffee County grew and harvested more than 1 million bushels of peanuts for market, more than any other county in the entire nation. Suddenly, the farmers who had been facing bankruptcy in 1916 were adding up their profits. Peanuts replaced cotton as the major cash crop in Coffee County and proved to be more profitable than cotton had ever been. The boll weevil had profound and devastating effects on agriculture and society in Alabama for much of the 20th century. However, a number of very positive and long-lasting effects grew out of that devastation, including the diversification of agriculture, the rise of the science of entomology in the South, and advancements in insect control methods. You might think the people of Enterprise in southeastern Alabama would hate the boll weevil after the insect destroyed more than 2/3 of the region's cotton crop in 1915. Instead, they erected a monument to the pest because even though the boll weevil brought tragedy and destruction, it also brought with it prosperity to the region and forced them to declare independence from King Cotton. On December 11, 1919, 4 years after the boll weevil hit the area, the town of Enterprise erected a statue in its honor. The monument was the idea of Enterprise merchant Bond Fleming. It was made in Italy at a cost of $1,795, paid for through donations and some of his own money. The monument originally featured a stone woman in a flowing white gown holding a chalice above her head, serving as a fountain. It wasn't until 30 years later that Enterprise resident Luther Baker crafted a 5-pound boll weevil out of metal and attached it to the top of the chalice. The inscription at the base of the monument reads, "In profound appreciation of the boll weevil and what it has done as the herald of prosperity." This monument was erected by the citizens of Enterprise, Coffee County, Alabama. Some historians maintain that the boll weevil was the most important event in Alabama history until the mid-20th century, except for the Civil War. Every October, Enterprise, Alabama still pays tribute to this creature, the boll weevil, that brought them from the ashes of devastation to a life of prosperity, from tragedy to triumph.